What's up, Purist? It's Bob from Purist Motorsports. Today we're going to work on the boost and fuel pressure gauges inside of 1993 Saleen number 33. Let's do this together. All right, before we get into this today, I would like to say thank you to those who have subscribed. And if you haven't yet already, please subscribe. Would love to have you a part of the Purist Motorsports family. Also, we have a website, puristmotorsports.com. A lot of the things that we talk about don't make it to video. We just recently purchased a cassette tape deck for our 1990 Saleen. There's some blog posts there that you can do a little reading. They're not long, just a couple minutes. You can check them out. Maybe if you have a break, I don't know, between Zoom meetings. So do that. Check that out. Also, the store is open. Please go check out the gear. We've got more designs coming. And thanks so much for watching. And with that, let's get back to your regularly scheduled program. So we'll show you here. This gauge only gets to about 10 PSI. And I know for a fact the car's got way more fuel pressure than that. As you can see, it's only sitting right at, I don't know, 6 or 8. We'll prime it again, it should go up a little more. Yeah, not much. So there's an isolator, which is the way you should run these. I don't recommend connecting the fuel line directly to this gauge. It needs to be encapsulated into a, well, Autometer makes one, but it's an isolator that puts basically antifreeze from here to a spot in the engine bay. But the problem is they're tricky to set up. So we're going to try to take this apart and see if we can't figure out what's going on with it. Okay, what I've done is I've let the car sit until there's no fuel pressure left. I don't want any pressure in the line in the isolator under the hood all the way to the gauge, because I want to check the level of fluid behind the gauge. The instructions tell me that I have on the Autometer gauge is that you fill the gauge up, holding it straight up, and then attach the line. It's really kind of janky if you want my personal opinion, but it's really the only way to do it. But this needs to be full with no air in it, so we want to make sure there's no air in this line. And so we're going to remove this, and then I have a mixture of 50-50 antifreeze and water to put in it. Okay, it looks like whoever did the install, they put an elbow on the back of the gauge. Not sure that wasn't in the kit that I had in my Almost 4 project. It could be that's got air in it, because it has to be filled up. It doesn't feel like there's enough length in the hose to get it there, but so we've got to disconnect it and check the fluid. Yeah, I'm just trying to work air bubbles out, and me doing that is making the fluid go down. So there's definitely some bubbles in that. The fluid has gone down into the hose. Now we leaked a little bit out, but it was just a drop or two. But I think there's definitely air in that line. That has really gone down. And I'm not spilling any. There's just a lot of air. See if we made any difference. I'm gonna turn the battery on. All right, let's go bleed out underneath the hood. Okay, the instructions on the altimeter setup for this isolator actually say do not disconnect here. But when the gauge is not working at all, they tell you to send it back to them and they get it all set back right, blah blah blah. But I disconnected this, and when I took the line off, it was about a quarter of the way down, and then I took a toothpick and just touched it, and then it just went down like over a half an inch or more. So it pulled a air bubble out that was right there, and I filled it back up, and it's holding pretty good now even when I put the toothpick down in it. I want to get this back together here. I'll put a little fluid in that. I don't think there'll be much, if any, needed in there, and hopefully we'll get more pressure than we've gotten, which is only like 5 psi. All right, here we go. So I kept the cap from my setup, so I'm gonna cap it off, pull it out, get up really high, because we're still not there. Pulled it through the firewall. Now let's see if we can't get this sucker bled out with this cap on. All right, so we bled the line. There was a lot of air in it, so we got it filled back up one drop at a time and hooked it up underneath here just to see if we get any results. Man, nothing. All right, so we're gonna let it drip down, come back to it. Here we are on day 4 of it sitting like this. I've pulled the line out from underneath the dash, obviously. and just let it sit like this. Open it up over the weekend and the level had gone down a good 1/2 inch. So it's been sitting another 48 hours and we'll see if the line is any better. So apparently there was just not a lot of fluid in this. Yay, it's still full. Okay, now for the painstaking job of feeding it back through the firewall. It's funny, the instructions actually say tip the gauge and connect it swiftly. I guess there is no way to put it together without dripping some fluid. If you do have a tip, I'm all ears though. Feel free to comment. Let's hope it reads something, because we've had a couple of failures so far. Whew. All right, see if we can get anything. That's good. 20, 15. Let's see. Dang. So 15 psi on a prime. That's better. Well, our efforts have been thwarted by a faulty gauge. Yeah, you can see that that right there, glass is fogging up and it's on the inside. I hope I got it on video. The highest I got it to read was 15 psi, and then after that it just quit working. Boost gauge works great though. It looks good, but this is an NOS gauge, and for those that need these gauges repaired, I will put a link to 2 places in the comments that can repair these. One is North Hollywood Speedometer, and the other is Redline Gauges. There may be others out there, but those are the 2 that I'm familiar with. I've had North Hollywood Speedometer personally repair and build gauges for me. They do good work, and Redline Gauges has done work for friends of mine. And so that being said, those are the 2 places you probably want to go. So the light doesn't blind everybody. Those are the places that you can go to get gauges repaired. I want to say both of those, North Hollywood Speedometer, I know did work for Saleen, and I want to say Redline Gauges did as well. They were obviously, Saleen has used multiple vendors over the years, but those 2 I believe were in the 90s. I'm not sure the timeline, but I do know that North Hollywood Speedometer was a supplier for VDO gauges with a Saleen logo. Anyways, I am really excited that I actually did not, I was troubleshooting this. I obviously got all the air out of the lines because of the way the gauge is working. It worked for a half a second and then just quit. So we'll get one. I think we've got another one we can replace this with. We'll have to get from the owner. and then send this one off to be repaired. And we'll just keep you updated in the video series here of what comes out from this. Hopefully soon we'll be able to get out and actually drive this car, so stay tuned. As always, whether you're driving them or restoring them, always enjoy them. Peace.